Hello, today in our series on Africa's business leaders, we're in conversation with Justine Kiska, an extraordinary young visionary entrepreneur. Hers is a remarkable story of an entrepreneurial spirit that was ignited by her first business straight out of school. Over the years, she's transformed into a dynamic force in African business as the CEO of Africa Talks Business, a leading continental magazine. Justine connects and empowers leaders across the continent through storytelling, networking, and collaboration. Her work spans industries, breaking barriers, and showcasing Africa's economic potential on a global stage. Justine, thanks very much indeed for joining us on the BRICS Africa channel.
Thank you for having me.
So your entrepreneurial journey began straight out of school. Tell us a little bit about that first beginnings and how it set you up for the rest of your entrepreneurial career.
Well, to be honest with you, Peter, I did not have a lot of opportunities. I think like many students coming out of school, I did poorly in school. I didn't do really well. So to get into university or to get a bursary was difficult, and my parents, like many others, couldn't afford to pay for my tuition fees or college fees. So I had to find a way to make money. I mean, I did look for a job. I looked for jobs continuously, but in that period of time, in the meanwhile, I thought I could sell products. So I did give my auntie from India a call. She had just moved there, and I asked her to send me some gifts. And one of the things she sent me was hair, and that's how I began selling hair. And I transformed that into a import, export, weave, and wig business.
So what were some of the lessons that you learned early on in those years that have helped you in business going forward?
Geez, I think there's so many lessons, but one of the biggest lessons I learned was to create a strong mental framework for myself. You know, we continuously listen to what other people want us to do. And when you're starting a business, you look for advice. It's just natural, it's normal. You're looking for who is successful and you want to know how they did it so that you can follow their journey. Now, for me to develop a strong mental frame in terms of where I'm going and what I'm doing, now I realize when I take on advice or people's opinions, if it does not suit my goal or my vision for where I'm going, I reject the opinion. And I'll outrightly reject certain opinions so that I don't make it create doubt in my mind.
You then started a
So,
number of
so
businesses over time, though, didn't you? And some of them didn't work out. What was the lesson for you there? Because a lot of people, once they fail, they just give up.
almost all of them didn't work out. I would say the hair business I had, I was able to sell that business, but most of the other companies did not work out. It's a bit of a trial and error type of type of situation. It's a little bit of a gamble in the initial stages. You're just taking a risk, an uncalculated risk, since you don't know anything about what's going on in the real world. But as you go forward and you keep refining your skill set and your expertise, you get good at something.
But didn't it break your spirit, the failure of for those businesses?
It did. Starting again and not having money continuously was breaking me down all the time. It did. But I think I had confidence in knowing that since one thing worked out, it's small little nuggets of confidence. It's faith and belief that you have in yourself when you sell a product. You know, if I went to a mall and I sold a product to a random stranger at the mall and I came back home, 3 years down the line when I'm starting again, I look back and think, well, I did that. I'm confident that I can do that again. So it's the confidence that sets into those little, it seems menial, it seems tasks that are not really important, but they do play a significant role. When you keep doing them, they build confidence within you.
So let's talk about Africa Talks Business, this unique platform that you created. What inspired you to create it?
So Africa Talks Business initially started off as a publication news platform. Now, Peter, I've always had the dream of reading the news. So I thought I'd start a company that could provide news insights. And I did try to have a studio which would read the news. So that was something I attempted. I attempted to do news as well as with journalists. So I have about 800 journalists on our database, and we would take news from hundreds of them. So what we'd do is we'd post them out. Over time, I was freely giving out my services. So I wasn't really making much money. It was a struggle to monetize. You look for advertising, that was difficult, as well as going into different conferences and having segments where we would do press and we would look at the conference and take snippets and do interviews for absolutely nothing, for free. So it was all costly, but what I did was I transformed that into a magazine by repurposing my content for the magazine. And then it evolved into what it is now, which is Africa Talks Business, the publication and magazine where we interview one person from each African country and we're able to connect Africa. Our database and our network has grown substantially from there. So that is how I got to the stage of the company.
So, what's the mission of the company now? What are you trying to do with this magazine platform?
So I'm looking to connect Africa. I know this is something a lot of people say. People are saying this constantly. They want to get Africa together. Let's start trading. It's difficult, right? And everybody has a really unique stance on how to do that. But I feel the best way to do that is through the media. That's where we're looking every day. That's where we position ourselves every day. So the magazine is genuinely to connect Africa, and how we go about doing that is very unique. Our process of doing that is very unique. We look for individuals in Africa that are higher profile, that are doing something in the economy. When I say doing something, I mean they're actively contributing to the GDP of their economy. So there's a percentage of their company that's contributing. So that's large companies, that's huge people in the industry, and they're making significant difference. And we look at profiling them, getting other African countries knowing who they are and knowing that they would like to network and expand in certain areas in their country as well as in other African countries. So it's looking at networking high profile individuals, helping them expand, as well as positioning them so other leaders get to know who they are and what they're doing.
You've talked to a lot of these CEOs, and I'm just wondering from what you've heard, what are some of the challenges that African businesses are facing today, and how can your magazine help them?
African businesses are facing many challenges. One of them, though, which we can contribute to assisting with, is networking. Networking is a very big um, it's a very big part of business in terms of not just clients, but partnering. You want to find the right partners. You want to expand in the right areas. You need to know what market, what the culture is like. Different African countries have different cultures, different ways of doing business. And because of that, this helps.
So, what's been the most rewarding aspect of leading Africa Talks business? What keeps you passionate about it?
Honestly, what's keeping me really passionate is being able to interview so many different people, learn about them. But I have a bigger project. So I have a secret project, which is not so secret since I'm telling you, which is I'm looking at asking a particular question that we do currently ask to every single CEO. And once that answer, we get a bulk of those answers, I'm going to publish them. So I am looking at, when it comes to CEOs and business owners and entrepreneurs, looking at specific ways in which they are positioning themselves, becoming successful, getting into industries, and learning about those particular things is what excites me. It's also given me the drive. and is the most fulfilling thing.
What have you learned so far just from the people that you've interviewed? What's your gut feeling in terms of why they've succeeded? Is there something common to all of them?
I think there is. I think there is. You know, I definitely believe that most industries are similar. So I think there is something common with each person. Can't tell you exactly what it is. I can't pinpoint it, but I definitely think it is. Each person has a different view of success. Each person has a different view of the industry, a different view of business, a different view of leadership, but there's something among them. I don't know what it is personally. I can't say exactly, but it is there.
And that's something that you're probably going to find out in these interviews that you're going to be doing going forward. There are a lot of young Africans like you who have big dreams and want to succeed. With your experience, with your knowledge, what you've seen, what advice would you give them in trying to start a business and get going?
Trying to start a business in Africa is extremely difficult. It comes with a lot of suffering. I can tell you that much. I've had to sleep in my car. I've not had money more times than I've had money. I've had to do a lot of different things just to get a small little step or my foot in the gap a little bit. So, my honest advice would be, and to any entrepreneur who's listening to me right now, enjoy your suffering, enjoy the hard parts of your journey right now, because one day it's going to be the reason why somebody listens to you. So enjoy your suffering, have a great time going through the hardest journey because you're going to come out at the end.
And I suppose, and listening to you now, perseverance must be a key quality just to keep waking up every single day and keep going, even in the face of difficulty and challenges.
Yes, I've had to go through some severe challenges, and perseverance is vital. It's vital. It's a key component, but you have to also understand, I think in my journey as well with perseverance, I had to erase shame, guilt, embarrassment, and allowing other people to judge me. I had to just be okay with that. If they felt I wasn't doing what was right, or didn't look that great, I couldn't afford this or couldn't afford, I had to just accept myself at that period of time where I was and kept going.
You must have met quite a number of people over time, and one hears this all the time that networking is quite an important thing to do. Has that been something that you've worked on, and has that reaped benefits? Is that part of being an entrepreneur?
Networking is probably one of the most vital components of growing a business. Building the right relationships in the right places that have the correct market for you is absolutely vital. Networking is one of my strong areas as a person, and it's one of the things that I often look at doing regularly. So yeah, networking is so important. And to anybody who's looking to grow in the industry and they're looking to position themselves somewhere, you need to have a network. And I do a very basic thing. I start off with writing who I want to be in contact with, which people I want to surround myself with, and then start getting in contact with those people, their PAs, whoever it is, and position myself there. Yeah.
All right, and perhaps finally, looking ahead, what's next for you? What's the big dream for Africa Talks Business?
So Africa Talks Business looking ahead, we're looking to interview this year 54 high-profile individuals in Africa, which is extremely exciting. And yeah, looking to do many interviews and connect Africa.
Justine, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us on the BRICS Africa channel.
Thank you so much, Peter, for having me.